Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Music and Therapy Podcast with Relationship Coach Keana W. Mitchell. I am your host, Keana W. Mitchell. Well, I hope everyone is doing well and that you had an amazing weekend and that you enjoyed your 4th of July. I also hope you had an awesome day because there's nothing like having an amazing Wednesday. This season, we are going to be doing a lot of new, fun, and exciting things, which includes weekly question and answer sessions in our Facebook group, along with opportunities to be coached by yours truly, of course, that's me, as you work on improving your marriage. So to become a part of the Facebook group where I will be doing the weekly live question and answer sessions, and for you to ask the questions that you have, ask the things that you have questions about or get clarity about some things, make sure that you click on the link in the show notes, or you can go to our website, which is KeanaWMitchell.com. Click on the link on the podcast page, and you will definitely be able to join the Facebook group. On last week's episode of the podcast, we talked about why some people stay in unhealthy marriages. So here are a few takeaways from last week's episode of the podcast. Number 1, they never saw a good relationship growing up. So sometimes if you don't see good relationship examples, you don't exactly know what to model. So these are some reasons why people stay in unhealthy relationships. Number 2, they don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. So unless you know what a healthy relationship is not, you won't know what a healthy relationship is because what you're doing, what you have, and what you're seeing is normal for you. So that is reason number 2. Number 3, unhealthy behavior was normalized when they were younger or in their homes or in their relationships. So if you see unhealthy behavior in your marriage or your relationship, and it's the same behavior that you saw with your parents, you might think, oh, this is normal. This is what all couples do. This is how married couples interact, and that is not true. So if you think that something is healthy when it's actually unhealthy behavior, then you're not going to recognize that, oh, this isn't a good situation, this isn't a good relationship, it's not healthy, because in your mind, this behavior was normalized, and so it seems healthy to you. Number 4, your parents did not have a good marriage or relationship. So once again, you see how we're going with that relationship model. If you didn't see a good relationship or a marriage growing up, then it's going to be difficult for you to recognize some of these red flags of what is not healthy in your marriage or relationship. And then finally, a lot of people stay in unhealthy relationships because they don't know how to move forward. So some people recognize, hey, this is not good, this is not healthy, this is not something I want to be doing, but they don't know how to move forward, or they're comfortable, or they're afraid. So these are just some of the takeaways from last week's episode of the podcast. If you would like to find out more about why people stay in unhealthy marriages, then click on the link in the show notes to listen to last week's episode of the podcast. This week on the podcast, we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to begin making your marriage healthy. So as you guys have noticed, over the past few weeks, we have been talking about healthy marriages and what they look like. We've been talking about how to recognize if your marriage is unhealthy. And we've kind of been going over the comparison about this is what healthy looks like, this is what unhealthy looks like. And last week we talked about why people stay in unhealthy marriages. Now, I know we've been talking a lot about this, but I don't want you guys to be discouraged, because at one point your marriage might have been healthy, probably was, but then it reached the unhealthy stage. But it does not mean that your marriage cannot go back to being healthy. So there are some things that you are going to have to do if you want your marriage to become healthy again. So there are 2 ways you can do this, and it just depends on your spouse. So if your spouse recognizes that your marriage is unhealthy, like you are recognizing, hey, this is unhealthy, this is not good, then together you and your spouse can work on having a healthy marriage, having that healthy relationship, and you can work on that together. Now, some of the things that you guys can do together to work on the healthy marriage or try to make it healthy is to make a consistent effort and consistent attention from you and your spouse to make this marriage healthy. So some of the things that you can do to strengthen your relationship would be communicate openly. So have regular, meaningful conversations that can help you stay connected and understand each other's needs and feelings. Now, when you're having these conversations, it's not important who's right, who's wrong. You just want to have these conversations so that you guys can talk about issues, be able to listen to what the other person is saying, understand where they're coming from, have empathy for each other so that you guys can come to a consensus and come to some type of resolution. So being able to communicate openly is very important to make your marriage healthy again. And this is important because sometimes people will scream, holler, sometimes the same things you see with your kids, how they get mad, scream, holler, slam doors, your spouse might do. But once you both recognize this is not good and it's not a healthy way to communicate, then you can work on making communication healthy by having those meaningful conversations and paying attention to the other person. And to make sure that when you communicate, you're saying it in a nice way, you're saying it where you're not blaming that person, you are actually communicating for the purpose of coming to a resolution. And it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. There's no winning, there's no losing. You're coming together to get a resolution. So communicate openly. Another thing that would be awesome if you and your spouse are working on it together, you guys can confront your issues early. So if you have open communication, if you see a problem, you can address the problem immediately as soon as it comes up. And this is important because it keeps the problems from escalating. It keeps you from having resentment toward your spouse. And it can also foster a sense of trust and security. So if you see an issue, you can address it, you can talk about it, and you can move forward. One of the things Gottman talks about when he talks about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, contempt is something that definitely predicts divorce. And if you guys are able to address these issues and problems as soon as they come up, you can be proactive in not being contemptuous toward your spouse or criticizing them, which is another thing that predicts divorce. Now, if you guys want to learn more about Gottman's Four Horses of the Apocalypse, then I have it. I've done a podcast on it, so you guys can go back and listen to that episode. But it's important because if you can confront these issues early, then you can eliminate a lot of these things like contempt and criticism and stonewalling. You can, and defensiveness, because you're talking, you're having a conversation, you're addressing the issues, and you're moving forward. And this is important for the security and trust in your marriage. By showing each other appreciation, that's something else you guys can do to make the marriage healthy. So this is just where you regularly express gratitude and appreciation for each other. I remember I was reading a book and this guy was talking about how he woke up one morning, his wife did something, he was really pissed about it. And that whole day, all he could think about was, oh, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that. But then he kind of caught himself and he was like, you know what? Let me think about the good things my wife does because she does a lot of good things. So he started to write down like 5 things that he appreciated about her. And by doing that, that changed his attitude toward her and helped him to focus on things he appreciated about her. So these small gestures can make a difference when it comes to making your marriage healthy because it's important to remember, okay, yeah, your spouse is not perfect. They have flaws, they have faults, but that doesn't mean they're a bad person. And when you think about things that you're appreciative about with them or have gratitude for things that they've done, then you can focus on the good instead of magnifying the bad. Now, I'm not saying that bad things don't exist, and I'm not saying you shouldn't address these issues, as you know, because I just said confront issues earlier, but it's also important to show appreciation and gratitude to your spouse. Spending quality time together. Now, this is when you make time for activities you both enjoy. And sometimes you can just do something your spouse enjoys, and then at other times they can do something that you enjoy. And then you can do things together. But it's just making time for each other, talking to each other, being connected, having fun, doing things, building these memories and creating positive memories and creating and maintaining a strong bond. So this is important. Having fun together, laughing, having fun activities, this can relieve a lot of stress and it can also bring you guys closer together, which can help you guys have that healthy relationship that you are craving and that you need in order to have a long-lasting relationship. And finally, having respect for each other, respecting each other's opinions and space and respect who you are as individuals. And it's not even important, to be honest, whether you agree or not. Just respect their opinion, acknowledge it, validate them, let them know that I hear you, I get it, I see where you're coming from. that can build trust and mutual respect as well. And finally, if you want to make sure that you and your spouse who are working together to make a healthy relationship, show unconditional positive regard. That means just support each other through good times and bad times. Have empathy and understanding. Now, I'm not saying you condone bad behavior or you condone things that goes against your beliefs, but what I'm saying is support each other, understand where they're coming from, and have empathy. So these are just some things that you can do if you and your spouse are going to work together to create a healthy marriage and a healthy relationship. Now, unfortunately, this is not the case for everyone. So if you're in a situation where you and your spouse want to work together to create a healthy marriage, then that is awesome. But if you are not in that type of space with your spouse, and your spouse does not realize, hey, this marriage is unhealthy, or they realize it but they don't care and they're not willing to work on it right now, then you can work on the marriage by yourself. You can begin to do things to make it healthy. Now, it is important to note that you do need both people to make this marriage healthy, but you can start the work by yourself. So when we're starting to work on a marriage by ourselves and starting to make it healthy alone, the important thing to do is focus on self-improvement. When you focus on self-improvement, this can have a profound impact on your marriage. And it's important because it can help you contribute to a healthier relationship. So the first thing you can do is enhance your communication skills. You can practice active listening and express yourself clearly. Effective communication helps prevent misunderstanding and it resolves conflicts more smoothly. It can also help you de-escalate situations instead of escalating situations. It can help you to come to resolutions and to be able to talk about things. So even if your spouse isn't willing to work on these things, you can definitely work on your communication skills and you can practice the active listening and learn how to express yourself so that your spouse will be able to hear what you're saying, or you can hear what your spouse is saying, and you can also resolve conflicts more smoothly. Number 2, develop emotional intelligence. Okay, I know, I'm sorry, but it's true. You have to understand and manage your emotions. Now, I know sometimes your spouse may get you angry, may make you want to scream at them and holler at them, but we have to understand we have to control the controllables, okay? What can you control? Okay, so here's what you can control. You can control yourself. You can control your emotions. You can control how you act toward your spouse, how you are empathetic toward their feelings. You can control that. Now, what you can't control is how your spouse acts, reacts to things that they do. But that's not important right now because you are working on making the marriage healthier, right? So in order to have a healthy marriage, you have to be able to control your emotions so that you can communicate effectively and you can talk to your spouse about issues and prevent misunderstanding and resolve conflicts more effectively. So being able to have emotional intelligence and controlling your emotions, this fosters a deeper emotional connection. Another thing that you can do in this type of situation is practice self-care. Make sure you are taking care of yourself physically, emotionally. Your mental health is important. And it's important because if you are trying to make the marriage healthy, you have to be in a good mental space in order to ensure that you have the energy and mindset to be a supportive partner and to have that emotional intelligence and to be able to communicate effectively. So all of these things are important. Number 4, it's important for you to set personal goals. So when we're talking about prioritizing self-care and making sure you're in a good headspace and you have good mental health, this contributes to that. Being able to pursue hobbies and interests that make you happy and fulfilled. Being well-rounded can bring positive energy into your relationship and into your marriage because you're no longer spending all your time focusing on what they're not doing. You're not trying to control things that you can't control, and that is the behavior. So by you making sure you have personal goals and you're working towards something and you have purpose and you have a drive and you have something you're looking forward to, this can help you stop focusing so much on what they're doing and can give you a sense of purpose and make your mental health better so that you can do all these things that you need to do to make the marriage healthy. Another thing that can be done is practice patience and understanding. Now you notice I said practice patience and understanding. Yeah, I said that for a reason because relationships require patience. Now I don't know about anybody else, but I am not a patient person. I think that my kids have taught me a lot about patience because you have to be patient. You have to be patient when you are a parent. So it's the same thing with your relationship or with your marriage. In order to have it to be a healthy marriage, you have to practice patience and understanding. Relationships do require patience, so being understanding and forgiving can help you navigate through tough times. Be open to feedback. Okay, so when I'm talking about being open to feedback, what I mean is accept constructive criticism from your partner and use it as an opportunity to grow. So when I say constructive criticism, I'm talking about criticism that is helpful, criticism that can help you grow. I'm not talking about criticism where they're putting you down and destroying your character and saying all mean things about you or making you have a low self-esteem. That is not constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is maybe, let's say, I don't know, let's say you cook something and you kind of burned it and your spouse is like, okay, well, maybe next time you may want to like put it on lower heat, watch the food or something or whatever. And that is constructive criticism. That's constructive feedback. So then the next time you cook it, you'll watch the food, you'll make sure you follow the recipe. That is helping you and that's giving you an opportunity to grow. That is what I'm talking about. When you're open to feedback and you're not defensive, this shows that you value their perspective and you're committed to improving. So that is important. And finally, cultivate a positive attitude. So focusing on the positive in your marriage and expressing gratitude regularly is something that can definitely make your marriage healthy. Having a positive outlook can strengthen your bond. Even if your spouse is not trying to do anything to make your marriage healthy, just by you making the marriage healthy and you working on yourself and you're doing this, you are just making the marriage healthy as well as making sure that you are emotionally healthy. Now the song we're going to listen to this week is called When I'm in Your Arms. And this song is a good example of how a healthy marriage should look. And I like this song a lot because if you are in a healthy marriage, this is what you want your marriage to look like. So by doing all of these things that we talked about, whether you are making the marriage healthy by yourself or whether you're making the marriage healthy with your spouse, this is the end goal. This is what you want. So here is the song, When I'm in Your Arms.
Frustrated and tired, had a bad day, such a bad day. My mind is thinking about today, nothing went my way. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me. The cloud seems to go away when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. My problems, they don't stay when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. I know it sounds crazy, but that is what love does. It brings out the best in you. Together, there is nothing that we won't do, just me and you. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me. The cloud seems to go away when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. My problems, they don't stay when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. My problems, they don't stay when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. The cloud seems to go away when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. My problems, they don't stay when I'm in your arms, when I'm in your arms. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me. As soon as I get home, you are there for me, waiting there for me.
Before I end the podcast, I would like to thank you so much for being here with me today. I absolutely love hanging out with you each week, and it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. If you love the podcast as much as I love spending time with you, I encourage you to share this week's episode with a friend or family member, and make sure that you like and follow the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I will also love it if you will leave a review for the podcast so you can let me know how much you are enjoying the show. Because I am so thankful to you guys, I am going to be giving away a free gift. I understand that being married can be difficult and stressful at times. So if you are looking for a way to stop arguing and resolve issues in your marriage, then click the link below in the show notes to download your free PDF about how to solve problems in your marriage. If you would like to contact me, feel free to contact me on social media by clicking the links in the show notes, and I promise you that I will respond to your message. Well, I think that's all for now. So until next week, have an amazing day and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.